lightning of his terrible sword. His truth is marching on.
I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. Oh, glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Oh, glory, glory, oh, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with the glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us live to make men free, while God is marching on.
He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is sifting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God, he is marching on. Yeah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth, it is marching on. Oh, glory, glory, hallelujah. Oh, glory, glory, hallelujah.
And we will make America great again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Arizona. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't you ever be sad. Lean on me in times of bad. When the day comes and you're down, and I'm in trouble, and I'm about to drown, just hold on.
far distant land of common sense, a place where we all once lived, you'll find the Conservative College with Professor Toto. It is here where the foundational principles of our great republic are still taught and true patriots are still educated in the hallowed halls of this school of hope. Just like the iconic puppy from The Wizard of Oz, who found great joy in pulling back the curtain on the lies of the wizard, so does Professor Toto. Grab your seats and welcome to the Conservative College. Class begins now.
Good evening, all over the world. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is your Professor Toto. All over the United States, even the nations of the world, I invite you into the Conservative College. Good evening. It is Tuesday evening. Sorry, no, it's not. It's Thursday evening, October the 17th, 8 o'clock Central, on the beautiful Gulf Coast of Mississippi, right between New Orleans and Biloxi. And ladies and gentlemen, we're funny down here in the South. It's dropped below 70 degrees, so we have fireplaces going. We have flannel pajamas on, and you would think it was 20 degrees outside, because in the South, when it gets under 100 degrees, it's winter time. I hope that wherever you are tonight, you are warm, comfortable in your homes. Right now, we're opening the doors wide open to the last place you can go in the world. It's called the Classroom of Common Sense. It is a hidden university. We call it the Conservative College, and you are welcome back tonight. Wherever you're watching us, whether it's on Roku, and let's look at Roku and see if we have any students on Roku tonight. Almost 6,000. That's a little low. So where's my Roku viewers tonight? Wake up out there. Roku, we normally have about 8,000 to 9,000 on Roku. Maybe they'll get here in a few minutes. Over on YouTube, good evening, YouTube. Welcome to class tonight. Going to be a phenomenal class tonight. Phenomenal. I'm so excited about tonight. So if you are watching on YouTube, I want you to do your favorite professor a favor. I need you to hit that share button and the like button and the love button. Hello, Rumble. Let's go over to Rumble and see what's going on Rumble tonight. That's where some of my most loyal viewers always are, on Rumble. And Rumble is a little low tonight. Come on, Rumble, hit the like button. There's normally 2,000 or 3,000 of you there. Let's get everybody into class tonight. Now, if you have our new app on your phone, if you want to go, click on the app right there, First Harvest Ministries. And when it pulls up, just click the live button right there at the bottom, and you can watch us live. And if you'll look at the top of your notification screens, you should have a notice there. Let's see if we've got notification that Professor Toto is on the air. Well, I'll be right there. Look at that. Professor Toto. It's time for Toto. Exciting interview. Don't you love it? You'll get notified every time we are live if you've got the app. It's on Android and Apple. So go download it today. First Harvest Ministries. Good evening, Facebook. All of our fake book friends, we welcome you in tonight. So we're going to take just a moment and we're going to wait for everybody to get into class. Spread the news. Tonight is going to be awesome. I'll be right back after a little advertisement, and we will get this class started tonight.
Have you considered when you spend your money at these mega corporations where it's going? Are you aware that your hard-earned money is being used to support political corruption, which leads to poor federal leadership? hurting our economy, contributing to the overall detriment of our society. This is heavy stuff to think about, I know, but it's time we fought back. Introducing Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying Club. Here, we are a club that gives you the power to invest in companies that uphold patriotic and conservative values your family can respect. Rather than spending your money with these major corporations, we've partnered with a direct consumer company that offers over 400 high-quality, sustainable, and effective products that can be delivered fast directly to your front door. So many patriots across America has joined us in this walkaway movement. Now it's your turn. Go to www.buybywalmart.com to join Professor Toto's The Patriots Buying.
Do it today. Thousands of you have joined our movement at buybywalmart.com, and I'm so grateful. Thank you, everyone that has been faithful and loyal all these years for supporting American-made products. You know, speaking of American-made products, down here in the South, you may not have these stores where you're located, but down here we have a store called Dirt Cheap. It's basically like I would say a second, well, it's not a second-hand store, but it's return merchandise. And it's where a lot of the Southern people go shopping because everything is dirt cheap. And they've been open for decades, and they employ a lot of people. And we just found out today that every one of them are going bankrupt. You know, I see so many stores where we live that are going out of business. You know, it's truly troubled times. And so I really believe and hope in my heart and know in my heart that in 2 weeks, there's going to be a dynamic shift in our nation. And so make sure, many of you have already went and voted. You've sent me pictures all day long. You have voted early. That is your civic duty to get out and vote. All right, the numbers are going up. We've got right at 10,000 students in our class tonight. So thank you for joining us this evening. Well, normally I do a lot of teaching in these classes. I teach about the Constitution, the great republic called America, and normally I'll teach you about what's happening in the news today, help you understand it from a biblical perspective. But tonight, I am going a total different direction, and you are going to want every homeschooling parent. If you are part of a homeschooling group, go share this video in that group right now. Mark my words, you're about to learn some exciting information tonight. I have a very special guest that I'm going to be bringing on in just a moment. Many of you I know have never heard of him because I have never heard of him. And I am the purveyor of all knowledge. I'm kidding. It's a little Rush Limbaugh there, you know, with both hands, one hand tied behind my back. But I didn't know of this gentleman. I didn't know of his work. And shame on me, because when I found out about his work and what God has anointed him to do, I was blown away. And I believe you're going to do that tonight. You're going to be so grateful for this podcast, for your children's sake, for your grandchildren's sake, your godchildren, your foster children. So I want every one of you, if you have people that, you know, they may not be interested in politics, everyone is interested in children. And American children especially, what we can do to preserve them. So tonight is your night. It's going to be a great class. Don't go anywhere. Before I introduce our guest tonight and the content for tonight's show, I want to make a quick announcement. Midland, Texas, I will be preaching and teaching the Word of God in Midland, Texas, and I want all of my friends to meet me in Midland, Texas. We're going to be there Friday, November the 8th. That's on a Friday night. And Saturday, November the 9th. So we will have a Bible lesson that Friday night and then a worship service that Saturday morning. I'll be preaching in both services. All the information is on the screen. The address is on the screen. This will be at our Kingdom Training Center, number 2, under the eldership of the pastoral elder there, Cliff Rickman. He and Sister April. I'm so excited to go back to Midland. We're going to try to come once a month. So if you're anywhere near Midland, come and meet me. Right after the Saturday service, we're going to have a huge Thanksgiving lunch together. So I want to spend a Thanksgiving lunch with all of my supporters, friends, fans, followers in the Midland, Texas area. So go put it down in your notebooks. Well, that's so old. We don't use notebooks anymore. In your Google calendars, put it in there. Get a reminder. Come Friday night and all day Saturday, and let's make a whole weekend out of it. It's a small setting, so we'll get a lot of time together, you and I. So all the information is on the screen. Now, the second weekend of November, I will be in York, Pennsylvania at Kingdom Training Center number 3 under the eldership of Brother Jamie Peachy and Minister Kristen Peachy. So I look forward to seeing all of our Pennsylvania, Maryland friends there, and I'll give you more details about that event next week, okay? Also, next Tuesday night, on that class, you do not want to miss it. I have another amazing guest that you do not want to miss. So make sure you're back in class next Tuesday night. All right. Without further ado, we are ready to move forward tonight and introduce you to a brand new, well, I say it's a brand new project. It's brand new to me, but evidently it's not brand new, but I bet it's going to be new to many of you. And what I want to do, if you'll give me a moment, I want to go to this website and I want to first show you what I'm looking at here. Let's see right there. Is that it? There we go. Now this is the website for Britfield. I've never heard of Britfield. But after tonight, you are going to find the wonderful world of Britfield. Watch closely. Britfield and the Lost Crown. Britfield and the Lost Crown. How interesting. Britfield and the Lost Crown. That very title excited me. I received this information just a few days ago, and normally, most of the time, I do not really ever pay attention to a lot of emails I get because a lot of people wants to be on our platform. But this caught my attention because many years ago, as a Bible teacher, I came to understand the true destiny of Great Britain, Wales, Ireland, Scotland. As a matter of fact, my people are from Wales. And I learned the role that Great Britain fulfills in even many of the biblical prophecies for the last days. And so that story, The Lost Crown, understanding what we understand about the lost tribes of Israel, how they're connected to Great Britain, I was intrigued by this children's story. And indeed, there is nothing we will not do for our children. So I knew that I had to introduce the wonderful world of Britfield to all of our followers. If you are a parent tonight looking for an alternative to the modern lies, the hedonistic heroes of all the stories out there today, you can hardly let your child look at a book anymore. I believe this is going to be a welcome reprieve for you to introduce them to the world of Britfield. Let me read a little to you about Britfield so you can know some more about it. Britfield is a global brand. It's a media empire that we knew nothing about. It is impacting and improving education and literacy while fostering something that is sadly missing in today's educational system: creativity and critical thinking. It is one of the most awarded books in fiction. The Britfield and the Lost Crown series is transforming literature and learning while bringing encouragement and entertainment to children and families worldwide. But it gets better than that. Listen carefully. With the first of 7 Britfield movies in pre-production, ladies and gentlemen, Britfield's about to become the new thing, and you're going to find out about it first right here on the Toto Show, the Conservative College. The first book is in pre-production right now. It's already a theatrical play, and it is a global book tour. Listen carefully. It is estimated that Britfield is going to surpass the Tolkien and the C.S. Lewis series in worldwide sales and impact. It is the first live-action Britfield movie projected to become one of the highest grossing films in cinematic history. I'm curious of those watching me right now, has any of you ever heard of Britfield and the Lost Crown? Comment if you have, because I would like to see if I'm the only one that's been living in La La Land. Any of my viewers, I'm looking at the chats right now. Anybody? Nobody. That is so interesting. Well, all of that changes tonight for every one of you. Since the August 2019 release of Britfield and the Lost Crown, it has become a global phenomenon. Children and parents worldwide are enjoying the fast-paced, action-packed pages while learning about history, geography, and culture. Rarely has a book series created its own unique category, a cross between Charles Dickens and Ian Fleming, while removing those common literary devices such as mythology, That's right. It takes all the boogeymen out of it, all of the paganism, the demigods. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. We don't believe in demigods around here. It removes all of the superheroes. It literally causes your child to critically think. Teenagers and adults connect with the genuine characters, the authentic situations in a world that people can relate to. This type of writing will break the fourth wall of fiction, reaching the hearts and mind of all demographics. Book number 1 is in England. Book number 2, France. Book number 3, Italy. Book number 4, Eastern Europe. Book number 5, Asia. Book number 6, South America. And book number 7, there's that number we love, America. I don't know if the author is aware of the biblical prophecies concerning Great Britain and America, but that title, The Lost Crown, when I realized how it's connected to the throne of David, the stone of Scone, I just had to meet this author. And tonight, you're about to meet him. Let me introduce you to him real quickly. Cindy Aldridge says, I've never heard of it. Sister Justina Morgan. Camry Wingler says, she's never heard of it. And Camry knows everything. Wow. So tonight you are in for a surprise. Let's talk about the author before I bring him on. He was born in Newport Beach, California. We will not hold that against him, liberal land, but I'm sure, hey, Jesus came out of Nazareth. No, we love California. His name is C.R. Stewart. 20 years of experience in writing fiction, nonfiction, and movie screenplays. He is a prolific writer, producer, creativity specialist, international consultant, prominent speaker. He is the founder of the prestigious Britfield, a comprehensive company dedicated to the highest quality in film production, publishing, and education. His area of expertise are writing, film, media production, global strategy, and international marketing. He received a Bachelor of Arts in British Literature and European History from Brown University. He earned an MBA from Boston College. He is pursuing a Master of Science in Advanced Management and a PhD in Technology and Strategy at Peter F. Drucker and Masatoshi Ito Graduate School of Management in Claremont Graduate University. He is now in San Diego, California. I was just there last month. We have a church there in that area. He is a strong supporter of education, the arts, and is an adjunct professor at Furmanian School of Business, Point Loma Nazarene University, and is past president of the board of directors of the San Diego Ballet. Without further ado, I am so excited tonight to introduce to you our guest, Mr. C.S. Stewart. Mr. Stewart, welcome to the Conservative College.
Thank you. Glad to be here. It was a wonderful opening, and you've saved me a lot of things I need to talk about. Your background and everything. You did such a good job. Thank you.
Well, you know, my job is to serve, and that's what I try to do here. First of all, thank you for taking time to come to an humble podcast like ours and to greet our viewers tonight and to introduce this world that you've created called Britfield. So you have before you an audience that is wide open to an introduction into your world. So I'm going to give you the microphone, and I'm not even going to question you. I just want you to take over for about 10 minutes. Tell us how this came to be. Tell us what Britfield is. And then when we're finished, we'll start talking about some homeschooling.
Yeah, I love it. And let's come back to that British connection.
Oh,
And we'll dive a little bit deep into Britfield and who is it and what is it and who they represented, because it was perfectly following in with your narrative at the beginning of this.
really?
And yeah, and it starts to come out in book 2 and 3, so it's quite exciting. So
Really?
real quick, yeah. So it's like, and I haven't kind of heard that scenario forever, and so you were like resparking my mind. I'm like, wow, that's right, I remember.
Now,
So,
wait a minute. Are you referring to our biblical belief concerning Great Britain and Scotland
yeah,
and all that?
there's
Okay,
a
wow.
thread there, and there's things I've also heard about Britain and there was a reason too, to start book 1 in Britain. Its history, its impact, and there are, interestingly enough, with the book, and I'm not trying to do it, but there's things that seem almost prophetic with it.
Yes.
And I know when book 2 came out, people were saying it's quite prophetic. Basically, I've been relearning history for 12 years. We all have that sort of pivoting point where we wake up, if you will. And so,
Well, Mr. Stewart, I don't want to be a bad host and interrupt you, but I've got to, when you said that word prophetic, I have very few guests on my show. All my people will tell you, very few. But this has been, when you said you had a pivot, when you had a moment, 10 years ago, my mind was blown when I came to understand the stone of scone, the stone of destiny, when I come to understand a character called Tia Tephi, that literally came from the Davidic line over to Ireland. And then all of these were ordained on that stone of scone. My point is, you are in a good environment tonight to tell your story. Thank you.
Ah, lovely. And a couple of fun books out there. I think one was How the Irish Saved. Was it How the Irish Saved?
I've got it. It's on my bookshelf right over here. I've got it.
Yeah, I love that book. And I incorporate a lot of that, actually, just threads of it. I read it, and then I was writing book 2, and I incorporated threads of that. And there's another one about Scotland and its impact literally on the world, and it's quite profound too, through education and through the churches. And people don't really even realize that the Ivy League used to be, really bastions of Christianity. It's almost profound, how far we've moved that needle. But anyway, so yeah, just a quick overview. I'm originally from Newport Beach, California. As you said, I was back east, Wellesley, Massachusetts, for about 16 years. Did my undergraduate in British literature and European history, and really enjoyed that. And then went on to postgraduate and graduate school. Believe it or not, I got into corporate world, investment banking. I worked for 3 Fortune 100 companies. And it was, but thank God for it, because I was dying to do something creative. And I mean, we're all born creative. We're going to talk a lot about that. Literally, we're all born creative. So your listeners, if you don't feel that you're creative, you were born creative. You have amazing talents. Just often we are stirred away from that, or we end up where we don't really belong, or we're just trying to survive. And I totally get that. And but I was just dying to do something creative. And I was down at this boring seminar in Providence, Rhode Island. I think it was insurance. I had to go. I was sent by, I think it was Morgan Stanley. And sitting up in the front too, because I was really trying to pay attention. And I started to drift, and I started to doodle. And I doodled a simple circle, 3 lines, a basket, a boy and a girl, and I wrote the boy and the balloon. And that idea resonated with me. And I just thought, boy, wouldn't that be a really cool story? And I lived off and on in England for 2 years. And they always say 2 things about writing. You write about what you know, and you write about what you love. British literature major, European history major, loved England, lived there. And so I literally went home that weekend, and just on one piece of paper, with just bullet points, I started to outline it. I said, well, we'll start up in Yorkshire, Northern England, present day, which I think is extremely important in an era of post-apocalyptic, sci-fi, everything and anything except reality, right? And so I wanted to write a real book here and now in a real place. And it's about Tom, 12-year-old orphan. He's been an orphan his whole life. He's been at Weatherly for 6 years, and this is the year he's going to escape. And I love it because that's stated on the second page of book 1, so it's not a story about an orphanage. It's a story about getting out of an orphanage. And I've said this before. There's a great quote out there. Said that Lincoln wasn't great because he was born in a log cabin, but because he got out of the log cabin. And so it's the idea of getting out of the orphanage. And so, but he's not going to get anywhere without his best friend, Sarah. And somewhere along the lines, they commandeer this hot air balloon and start flying all over England, trying to get to London. And that's kind of the destiny of every orphan, the greatest city in the world, get to London.
Right.
And just have fun, grow up and get out of this horrible place.
Yeah.
And they end up at Oxford, Windsor, London, and finally down to Canterbury. And we can come back to that because the book is very, very well outlined. It's very specific. and it's got a lot of layers, if you will. And so I remember that night I was at a friend's house for dinner. I was in her kitchen, and I was kind of showing her the outline, telling her the story. And that's at that moment is when I had my moment, and I saw how potentially big this was going to be.
Wow.
And it is a God thing, because it's like, and I always say
Yes.
Britfield found me. I did not find it. I was not looking for it. If you said to me 12 years ago, you'd spend the next quarter of a century on a children's series, fast-paced, I would say you're crazy. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I was just like, I had no, and there's a lot of people out there that would love to write a children's book or novel. That wasn't me. I didn't want to do that. I do come from a writing background, which we can dig into, but it wasn't a long
Right.
list. But it was at that moment in that kitchen, I saw how big it was going to be,
Wow.
which is just profound. And but it's taken a long time. So from concept, so I sat down, spent 4
What
years.
year was that?
So it must have been, so 2009, right around
Oh, my
2009,
word.
2008.
You're not
Yeah.
going to believe what I'm fixing to tell you. This is going to
Okay.
blow your mind. 2009 is the year I had my epiphany about Scotland, Great
Hmm.
Britain. It was and everybody watching knows that's the truth, because 2009 is when my life changed. Theologically, I came out of what I would call common Christianity and begin to see these further truths. And that was in 2009. And that is when you sort of received your moment. That's interesting, to say
Yeah,
the least.
yeah, that is cool though. Thank you for that thread. And so I
Yes,
sat down.
sir.
It took me 4 years, 2,500 hours to write book one, Britfield Lost Crown. And at the time, I wasn't thinking it was a series or anything like that. But as I was developing the story and writing, and I thought, gosh, you get to the end of it, and it's so fun and so exciting. I'm like, we really have a series here. I'm kind of like book one sort of just sets it up and launches it.
Okay.
And I always wanted to do France and Italy, and then it eventually became a 5-book, and now it's a 7-book series as you've gone through. And so we officially launched book one, Britfield Lost Crown, in August 2019. And since then, like you said, it's become a national bestseller, one of the most awarded books in children's fiction, which is awesome. But we kicked off a national tour. And I ended up driving 9,000 miles. I visited 23 states, presented to over 200 schools in front of more than 40 to 50,000 students. In fact, I was in Louisiana for a full week, and I think I was at 8 or 9 schools there, and went all the way up. And unfortunately, it was March of 2020. I was in Memphis, Tennessee, just did 4
Okay.
schools, and all the schools started to close. And I was like, I finally get to the
wow.
heart of America, because that was really my goal. And I broke up the tour. We do like 2.5, 3 months, and then we come back, and then we do another section. But I drove all the way up, through Oregon, all the way up to Seattle, all the way over to Chicago. I was in Texas for over a month, if you can imagine. Arizona, 2 weeks, 15 schools. I mean, everywhere. Oklahoma, Louisiana, Memphis, Tennessee. All of it. And so I drove back, and since then we were started to do virtual author visits. So you adapt, right? You pivot, because I know that was a huge impact to everybody, and with work and everything. And we always turn it around and make it to our benefit, if you will, and find a strength in it. So it's cool, because we started doing we did Florida, and then we did Georgia, and then we did Indiana. We did Australia, 16 and a half hours ahead of us. So it was really cool. We started to go global. with
So
these authors.
the height of your tour, you met COVID face to face, and the
Yeah.
height of your tour. Okay,
Oh yeah,
gotcha.
and the thing is to remember, like this is 10 years in the works. I mean, building my team,
Wow.
and raising capital.
Wow.
Because this is we say that's more than a book. It's a movement in literature, education,
Right.
film, and media. So it's not some guy out of the back of his truck selling a few books. I mean, this is the next
Right.
quarter of a century. We're looking for a paradigm shift in literature. We're trying to elevate the bar of literature right now, along with media and television and films. And really impact education, specifically in the world of creativity. We can talk about that. So anyway, yeah. So we kind of pivoted from that. We launched book 2 in July 4th of 2021, Britfield and the Rise of the Lion. That's really cool. That's kind of my Empire Strikes Back. It gets
Okay.
it gets a bit more intense, if you will, and we start to expose a little bit of things that are behind the scenes. Book
That's
3
what we
was
love.
Britfield and the Return of the Prince. We launched that in September 2022. And that takes place in Italy. It's 575 pages. And then we're getting ready to launch book 4 now, Britfield and the Eastern Empire, coming in, believe it or not, at 437 pages. And
Wow.
we cover 11 countries. We start in Vienna and we end in Russia. And
You
I
have a
think what's
question
great-
on the
Yeah.
screen there if you want to.
Oh, book 1 is an Audible. It was, and the rest will be. We're actually
Okay.
in negotiation right now for the global audio rights and the global ebook rights, which is
Excellent.
pretty cool.
Excellent.
So,
What
yeah,
age? What age range?
oh yeah, absolutely. So, it really, this is interesting. Our youngest reader's 7, our oldest reader's 93, 55% of our reading audience are adults. This is a great adult book, but book one is specifically really aimed at that sort of middle school, your 5th, your 6th grader, your 7th grader. What's nice about it is, as the books continue, so book 2, Britfield and the Rise of the Lion, that's 474 pages. Tom and Sarah, the main characters, are now 13. And then in book 3, they're 14. And then in book 4, they're 15. And so by the time they come back to America for book 7, they'll be 18 years old. So it's a really nice middle school book to start, and then transitions into your sort of young adult. But those are great.
I got it. Okay.
And the audio book, we won a Parents' Choice Gold Medal for the audio. It's done by award-winning British voice talent Ian Russell, and he does all the voices. He just does an amazing job. I think it's like 11 and a half hours and stuff. And we've received
Rhonda Jane said she's listening to it right now. Rhonda Jane.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So anyway, yeah, and I think what's neat about the book, I think I have 2 minutes on my 10, but
go ahead.
If you will.
Go ahead. We got plenty of time. Go ahead.
Cool. So, but I think what makes it so dynamic, what makes it so necessary, are many things. Number one, it takes place in current time, and as I said before, the 90% of the industry is filled with this sort of fantasy, witchcraft, demigods, superheroes,
right,
all this nonsense. And it's all designed for 3 reasons. And it's designed that way, and it's very specific. Number 1, disconnect kids from reality. Number 2, make them feel less than they are, right? Make them feel less. If I just had magical powers. Whereas I think every child is amazing. And every child is born with creativity and talent and a need to be in this world. And number 3, it really brings in some very dark content that it doesn't need to be.
Absolutely.
So,
you got to say those 3. I don't want you to rush through it. We got all the time you need.
Sure.
Those 3 things: to disconnect them from reality, destroy their creativity,
make them feel less than they are, and to introduce them to very dark topics, subjects, and agendas. And
with Britfield, we're not going to find any of
none of that. Based on family, friendship, loyalty, courage, hope, and faith. As children are reading, as adults are reading, they're learning about geography, art, architecture, history, and culture. And we incorporate the 4 C's: creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration.
Imagine that. How what a concept.
And again, too, I was inspired by some of the fun books, the Hardy Boys, just good, clean,
I loved the Hardy Boys.
Good adventure, you know what I mean? And we've
loved
gotten
them
so far off the reservation. But again, too, some great books like, when I was growing up, it was The Mouse and the Motorcycle, James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was Roald Dahl's, masterpiece and of his creative world.
Education today has destroyed creativity.
Yeah,
in the
and we
mind
can
of
go
a
into
child.
that if you want to. I've got all the stats. Yeah.
You got it? Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. Look, so everybody watching me right now, please share. We have the equivalent right now of, I hate to compare him to J.K. Rowling, but that's what we have the equivalent of right here. We may never, ever be able to get this gentleman back when this thing explodes like we know it's going to. So come in, and I'm going to even take some questions from the audience once we're done tonight. Yeah. And before we go, because we'll lose some people, it's late in certain parts of the nation. Before we go any further, give me a website. Where do we buy these books? I want to buy them for all my grandchildren and children.
Yeah, the Britfield.com website is the best place to go. It's an award-winning website. You pulled it up at the beginning. It's got over 400 pictures of Britain, book 1, which is really cool. And it's really designed to complement book 1. So you could be teaching it in the classroom. You could be teaching it at home or a homeschool group. And you can go to the different sections. You can pull. So I might describe Yorkshire and the moors, and the smoldering moors and the frost or Oxford and High Street. You can actually go to the website, pull up the pictures. We've got interactive maps. So you sit there and go, where in the heck is England? You know what I mean? Or where is Yorkshire? You know what I mean? And there it is.
Right. Okay.
You can zoom in, zoom out. Any books that are bought through the Britfield.com website I'm still signing. I'll sign those books. You get a bookmark and a sticker.
Oh, excellent. So if we
And,
buy them, don't buy them from Amazon, don't buy
It's
them.
on Amazon. We're on a lot of the other platforms, but
Okay.
and I won't be doing it for long because I'm getting very, very, as you can imagine, busy. And but
Sure,
I have fun. I have fun signing every book. I love seeing where the purchase comes in, and I'll pull it up on a map. Whether it's Ohio and or North Dakota or Alaska or all these little. I just love seeing it and seeing the impact that we're having. And
But what about they're saying Barnes and Nobles?
Yes, it should be. It should be there. We're probably by January, February. We pulled off the main system that was kind of getting it into all the stores because we launched. Just as a side note, we launched Britfield Lost Crown in Britain in June of this year through a British distributor. How cool is that?
I want you to read this comment real quick. It says, I know a lady that worked in a library. She brought that book into her library as a book fair, and shortly thereafter, they banned that book. She lost her job shortly there, and she was a good Christian woman. Have you heard of that?
Never heard of that, and I've never heard a problem.
Okay.
So I do find that I did see that comment earlier, and I kind of found that profound because
Okay.
librarians love this book. They recommend it to students. We're having a huge impact on literacy, especially for males that don't read, and the librarians will recommend the book. And 2 to 3 days later, the boy will come back, finishing it cover to cover, and say, "Can I have book 2?" and stuff.
Oh, wow. I'm going to try to create a QR code real quick to help people get over there to Britfield.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Britfield, BRITFIELD.com. The author is asking us to buy it directly from there. After all, if you buy it from there, it's going to be signed by the author. So I'm going, soon as this is over, I think I'm going to buy them for every child in my church so that it's a collection. How many are they all done? 7?
No. We only have 3 that we've completed. So we've got a great trilogy box, which is great presents for grandkids, kids, even adults. We'll be launching book 4. We're launching book 4 in January 2015, but we have pre-orders, and we'll start shipping book 4 end of October, early November. So anyone that actually buys book 4, and at some point next month, I'll do a 4-pack. We can get all 4 books and stuff.
Excellent.
So you can still pre-order book 4, and I tell you, book 4 is going to knock your socks off. You can actually see it behind me. That's the.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, and that's that's Tom, Sarah, and then someone else I don't want to give away, but they're 15 now. And they're looking out on the Hermitage in St. Petersburg, Russia. And that's Britfield and the Eastern Empire. So, and
most of our children don't even know anything about these countries. It's going to be phenomenal.
That's the idea. I mean, geography is one of the weakest subjects in schools. Some kids don't even know where Colorado is, or Washington, D.C., or Boston. And what's nice in the books too is we have maps. So we have like a book.
Okay.
We have 5 maps. We have Britain, and then we have.
Can you show us one real quick? We would love to see that. Darren Bunch wants to know the name again. It's Britfield.com. Okay, so there's a map that shows them what they're looking at.
Oxford University.
Oh, that's Oxford University. Look,
and then
phenomenal.
Windsor Castle.
What is that?
Windsor Castle.
Windsor Castle.
And then London, of course. And again, too, it's just kind of some of the main places, some of the main roads, and then Canterbury Cathedral or Canterbury, and so and all the books have maps in them, so it's a good way to get the kids engaged in it, and it shows the streets, and because that's always fun if you're reading a book and it takes place in a city or something, and it's like you have a map,
right?
There they are, and then they come over there, and there's the museum, or there's the park, or
right.
So we go to that extra mile, and it's just a great way to kind of get them more engaged. Reading maps when's the last time kids have read maps and stuff. So it's very, very cool. And a lot of it too is to spark interest, that they can Google.
Absolutely.
Or, we touch on history, but it's not a history book. But we're trying to plant seeds, and now they might be a little bit more interested in history, or art, or architecture, or culture. We reference a lot of great novels like The Count of Monte Cristo or The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yes.
So again, we're planting seeds, getting kids kind of interested in it. So
there's the QR code, folks. You can click right there and go straight to the website, Britfield.com. And now, when we get there, what is there? There's a store. I'm assuming that's where we order.
Yes. Yeah. It's really, it's a great website. You can pull it up again too if you want, because
Yeah,
we
let's
have-
go. Let me run over there and show everybody, because I've got people biting at the bits to get this book in their children's hands. Let's see. Let's go look real quick. Britfield. All right. So here we are. Tell me where to go to order. Store.
Yeah, store. So there's the
Store right there.
Boom.
Okay.
Explanatory. There's the trilogy. There's book
Okay. So
4.
that's all 3 books that are currently
Correct.
available right there.
Yes.
All right. I thought the price was $7.49. I was about to swallow my tongue.
Yikes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but
All
it's
right.
fun. And
Yeah. Okay, there's the trilogy, guys, right there. Now I'm seeing plays. Talk to us
Yeah.
about the plays.
So go up, go to the top. This is really exciting.
Okay.
Go to the very top and then click play.
Okay.
And then what we did, I did this about 2 years ago. I took this 384-page book, translated it into a 90-minute, 2-act theatrical play specifically for elementary
Okay.
and middle schools and even high schools. So again, try to bring in great family-focused content now into the theater programs. We piloted it a couple years ago for over 4 nights at a wonderful school in Southern California to great success. And yeah, so you're kind of going there. Let's see, go down a little bit more.
Okay.
And yeah, there's my team
Look at
of
'em. Okay.
30 student actors. Isn't that great? It's a little black box theater.
Oh,
And
wow.
what's great about the play is it has speaking roles and acting roles for over 30 student actors, and they're included throughout the play. So it's not like a bit part and then you sit off on the sidelines. You're in the play throughout in different
Okay.
roles. You have speaking roles. It's great from 4 years old all the way up to 8 and even into high school.
How many cast members would you need?
You can do it for like 10 to 12 to 15. It
Okay.
depends. But you'd be playing multi-roles, but you can get up to at least 30. Because really
Okay.
what we do is we create the world of Britfield. You know, it starts up in Yorkshire. You're at the orphanage. And
Okay.
what's great about the play is it never stops. And we have the director's script. We have the actor's script. We have director's notes, scene by scene, how to set it up, costuming, lighting, staging. Now,
Uh-huh.
you know, for the director, it's up to you. They're just suggestions. But we
Okay.
walk through it. So the idea is, like, hypothetically, your first scene is on the stage. And then when that fades, another scene on the right or the left is starting and that light comes up. So the idea is it never stops. You know, sometimes the lights go down and then they're changing stuff.
Right,
and then back
right.
up.
Okay.
Not in our play. You know, it's just constantly continuous. We use the aisle. There's a scene where Tom and Sarah walking up the aisle as they're headed to London. You know,
Yes,
we
sir.
use the front stage, and we have over 28 sound effects, 54 digital slides that if you want, you can project on the back screen. And there it is. You know, there's when the
So
slides
if
are
we
in-
have an educator watching now, school principal or pastor watching that wanted to do this play, this is where they would get everything they need.
Correct. Turnkey. Yeah, you can do it where you simply have the play and you lease it for, I think it's 18 months.
Okay.
And you can download everything, or you can get the whole package. And
It's got the music, it's got the projection slides, the sound effects. Excellent.
and you can literally
Well,
go on and just boom, done, download it.
So if we had a homeschool group right now that's watching, that's part of a homeschool group, this would be great to do for their community.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's so much fun. And it was a miracle to see, really. I mean, you know, here's the author, and it's like, you know, and we always know about the movie. We'll talk about the movie shortly. And
Right.
It's always, for me, it's always been about the movie. It was actually, it was the first school that I ever presented at in Southern California when we kicked off our tour in 2019, and I was leaving, and Michelle Shoemaker, who was the theater director, as I was leaving, she goes, "You ever think of making it into a play?" And I thought, you know, like, no, like never. Like, you know, I've thought about the television series. I've thought about the films. I've thought about the products. I'm like, play? No. But that seed stuck. And it was 18 months later, you know, that I came back.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I know a theater right now right outside of Detroit, Michigan. I know a theater with a family that they're all of them homeschool there. And they own this theater, and this would be dynamic to present to their community.
It's fun. It's clean. It's family focused. It's current. It's educational. It takes place in a different country. I mean, just brings
Now
in
the
history.
play is just book one.
Yeah, just book one.
Okay. And so you'll be adding plays or no?
I don't
or
know
just,
if we'll do
okay.
more plays. I think we're
Okay.
definitely, we're kind of like full steam into the. It would be
Okay.
cool. I mean, I think once the play really takes off and we launch, it really starts to move.
Gotcha.
We could do the play for book 2 and 3. Tremendous amount of time and effort, as you can imagine. So,
Okay.
but it was exciting
All
to
right.
kind of share that. So, yeah.
Talk to us about the movie. Let's talk about the movie.
Yeah, so we've been in development for over 2 years from the film, and again, too, just as a quick side note, I've my writing training was really in script writing, and I started like decades ago, and I started to learn how to write movie scripts because I've always been fascinated with film and everything, and would take classes, beginning, middle, and then intermediate and all the way up, and then I started to train with like really professional script writers. And would write, a couple scenes or a couple pages, and then I'd submit it, and I'd get back feedback. So that's something I was doing on my own. That was my creative outlet for years, if not decades. And so it's so interesting that when I sat down to write Britfield Lost Crown, and again, this is the God thread, I subconsciously sort of had the 3-act structure. And the things about a script that are very different from a novel is, number one, a script is based on the 3-act structure. They're very tight. And so if you have a 90-minute movie, technically you're going to have about a 90 to 95 page script, and every page represents a minute, and it's pretty on. It's not an exact science. So it teaches you many things, economies of words. You never have more than 2 to 3 lines of description in a script. You start on the action, you end on the action. Dialogue is tight, movement is tight. If it does not move the story forward, it does not go in there. And how many people read like books now, and it's like, they kind of go off the reservation, or they kind of like, it kind of hits a plateau, or it's like paragraphs of description. You're like, what does this have to do with the story?
Okay.
Nothing. And so it really taught me this tight technique. And I think 90% of the people that have read book 1 say it reads like a movie. I feel like I'm there. And so for me too, coming from, in a sense, the theatrical and movie background, and always loving films, not Hollywood, but the art of filmmaking, right? And great storytelling, everything from The Sound of Music to The Great Escape to the classics,
Yeah.
It's been about the movie. And so it's been in development for about 2.5 years. And and I have a great producer team, father and son. Sam's the one I talk to. In fact, I'm talking with him Sunday. We talk about once a week. We're now moving into pre-production, which is very exciting. This is a finished movie script.
Okay.
Lost Crown. This is the third and final polish and draft.
And that's a 90-minute movie.
That's actually a 2-hour and 10-minute movie.
Okay.
That's what we're shooting for right now, gearing it in. It might come in at 2 hours and 5 minutes, or 2 hours and 10 minutes. I was giving you the 90-minute scenario just as a
I got you. What kind of projection are you looking at?
If all goes well, we'll be filming in England next year. I'm thinking either summer or fall.
Wow.
And then we're looking at a global release date of November 2026, which really isn't that, from this November, it'll be 2 years.
I'm so excited for you to see an idea. I was talking to someone today, and I said, God, we call him Yahweh, but God, he has no hands as far as human hands to write a book. He has no hands to make a movie. But what he does have is a divine connection with our minds. And he gives us the divine thoughts. We give him the common hands. And when you bring those together, that is his will being done on earth as it is in heaven. I believe he gave you a heavenly idea for more reasons than you may even understand. The time we're living in, the revelation of this. And I just believe that I don't connect with everybody. I believe you are part of a restoration to our children and this generation. And I'm just so excited to see this movie now coming to pass for you. And we're all going to be covering this in prayer.
And thank you. And then if I would ask for one thing, it's prayer.
Yes, sir.
Prayer.
You have a question on the screen, by the way.
Oh, sure. It says if I got did you want to read it? Go ahead.
Yeah, if we purchase the trilogy, are those signed as well?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Every book is signed. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Leanne Kate said that I'm going to share this with Made to Homeschool Consortium. It is a great group that mentors homeschools all over the United States of America. Priscilla Solomon just ordered 2 books. Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, hey, here's a question from Jill Sydock. She's our in-house graphic designer.
Okay.
Have you created any board games to tell the story to invoke the sense of adventure for kids to play?
We've been in development of the first board game, Britfield Lost Crown, for a bit.
Wow.
We're going to be diving in deeper, probably November, and then really rolling into it next year, early next year. It's interesting about the board game industry. It's a $2 billion industry, and it's growing at 5% a year. Isn't that interesting? So in this world of all this virtual and computers and all this, the board game industry, the hard board games, is growing at 5% every year. I got that straight from a vice president at USA Opoly, which is that does the Monopoly games, and we presented Britfield to them. We actually have what I think is the largest board game manufacturer in the world out of Toronto, Canada, that's actually interested right now in the Britfield board game. And what we might do, and it's been kind of my plan, is to come back to 5, 7, 10 schools throughout the nation, some of the schools that I visited, and do a fun contest with the classrooms to help them invent the Britfield board game, and they can create their own little creative team and then do a presentation. Every school will receive something very cool, pizza party or whatever, something, you know what I mean, or whatever, a day out or something, and then have some grand prizes and stuff. But again, too, everything we do at Britfield is always about the schools, inspiring creativity, giving back to the schools, giving children, opportunities. As a side note, for the first 3 books, when I was done with the 3rd manuscript of book 1, Britfield Lost Crown, I reached out to elementary and middle schools, to private and public, to see, and we had the manuscript. So a manuscript obviously is like this. It's not a book just like this, plastic, with the car. And, it's 384 pages, and to see if any of the students would be interested in reading it. And they were, and there was one public school, and we had 30 manuscripts, and I think there was something like 150 volunteers to read it in 3 weeks. And so they literally had to take names and put it in a hat and pull it out of it. And what impacted me the most was how hungry kids were to do something fun, exciting, some types of extracurricular activity. And so we had over like 150, 200 kids that read the first manuscript within 3 weeks. And when they were done, they turned it in. They got a 2.5-page survey. They filled out some basic questions so we could kind of get a sense of what they thought. And then I would go into the library all day during different periods at these little round tables. 4 or 5 students would come in, 11, 12, 13. And I was no longer the author, the adult, the writer. I was the pupil. And they were my audience. And I sat there and I listened to them. What did you like? What didn't you like? What was confusing? And I treated them like they should be treated. I treated them with respect because their voice mattered. Right. And I just sat there and took notes, and they're sitting there like talking, watching me take notes and saying, what else? And what else was confusing? And what didn't you like? And then it's through a lot of that, especially with book 1, book 2, and book 3, that we got that feedback, and it really tailored these books. And you wonder why they're so good and they're so well received. I mean, that's part of it. You know what I mean? That's my audience. I don't go to literary critics or literary writers. What do they know? They don't know anything. They're not my audience. The kids are my audience. Do you like this 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old? And that's why we've had 12-year-olds that have read this book, 384 pages in 5-6 hours. We've had some kids read it in one sitting. And it's not because it's simple writing. I use a vast amount of vocabulary. I use great complex sentence structure. We're AR approved, which is accelerated reader. So a test for book 1 has already been generated, one for book 2 and stuff. We actually have an 83-page study guide based on academic standards. This is designed to be taught in the classroom and into homeschool groups. We're already being taught in hundreds of schools across the nation. We're already in thousands of schools across the nation. And our goal is in the next 8 to 10 years to be in 90 to 100% of the 120,000 elementary middle schools in the United States.
Wow. We have an event every year in October where hundreds and hundreds of our followers come to Lake Gunnersville, Alabama. And so maybe we'll try to do something to feature Britfield at that event, and maybe put the play on, or because we really want to promote what you're doing. I believe in it. Our children are desperate for for something of this kind of quality. And I just want to thank you for taking this calling on your life. Leanne Kate, and by the way, so many people are saying that they just went and bought the book. I'm so grateful to see that. Leanne Kate said you should speak at the Homeschool Convention in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. So you may want to get your people on that.
That'd be nice.
Speaking about homeschooling, let's
Sure.
pivot a little bit, and let's just talk. Just share with me. Talk to our homeschooling parents out there, and the floor is yours.
Well, great. I've done, I think by December, it would have been over 400 interviews, national, international, television, you name it. And I usually almost in every single show talk about homeschooling because I absolutely love homeschooling. I love the homeschool model. I myself was not homeschooled. And really as of 5 years ago, I didn't really know much about the homeschool movement. And I think the best meme that I ever saw that explained it came out, I think, in 2021. And the top part of it said, our impression of homeschool moms last year. And it had like 6 or 7 of these women on this like old wooden porch. And their hairs were in a bun in these gray outfits. They looked almost Amish. And then it said, our impression of homeschool moms this year. And it was a still from the Wonder Woman movie, with the sword and the shield. And I thought, man, that just really hit it out of the park. Because a lot of people don't understand homeschooling. They think it's kind of way back in the woods.
Okay,
that.
Right, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Right, and my first introduction to it was through, oh gosh, I can't remember the gentleman's name. He lives in Salem, North Carolina, and was out there traveling, and he runs the Truth Network, I think, out of North Carolina. He's the son of the founder of Salem Media Group, by the way. Stu is his name. And picked me up, and he was showing me around town and stuff. And he goes, hold on, I got to do an interview real quick. We're going to this homeschool convention. And I'm like, okay, thinking it was like this little tent somewhere, and we go down these elevators and into this massive auditorium. And there was like thousands of people and hundreds of stalls. And that was my first introduction to them. I was like, whoa, it's like this whole world. And really the biggest impression came was when I was on my tour in 2019. I was in Carson, Nevada. Going to, all these big schools and stuff. We were going to a homeschool farm. And so we pull up and it's, nice little farm and stuff. And we, a little call box, and they open the gate. And the first thing I saw when I was driving up was about 6 or 7 boys playing basketball. It was kind of their break. And the ages ranged from 12 to 17. And I'm like, when have you ever seen that on a playground in history? Right. Never. And it just struck me, and it's because, I'm a writer. I absorb things. I look and it's just like, I was like, and they were all getting on, and the oldest 17 had the leadership role to protect the younger ones, and the younger ones had someone older to play with and to esteem up towards. And so I parked my car, and this little 12-year-old girl dressed in this nice little outfit, kind of her hair nicely back, comes up to me and says, "Are you Mr. Stewart?" And I said, "Yes." And she puts out her hand, gives me a firm shake, and says, "Wow, thank you for coming." Wow. And like at that moment, I just thought, that's a future senator, that's a future CEO. And that was like my impression of homeschool. I mean, these kids, and then we sat around, like about 30 of them, all these different ages, and they were well read. They were very pleasant. They asked great questions. And this is the thing that I'm finding about the homeschool movement. We're in a homeschool revolution. We're in 2 things. We're in an educational reformation right now, like Martin Luther 500 years ago, and it's the beginning of the end of the communistic public system built on an industrial model from the 19th century. And not to get into politics, but I don't know where you stand, but I said to everyone, if President Trump, if he will focus on education, he'll win this election, because you're exactly right. That is the issue. Yeah. And we're in a homeschool revolution right now. We've gone from 5 million homeschoolers to, I believe, estimates are up to 15 million in the last 4 years. And I mean,
the liberals are going crazy over that.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting too. So as a footnote, because I'm glad I set it up. When I was, there I am in Memphis, Tennessee. I was finally in the heart of America on my tour in March 2020. And I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get up to Kentucky and Indiana and Ohio, and get down to the South. And all of a sudden, I literally had to turn around and drive all the way back to San Diego. You know what I mean? And it's like when you're going there, it's fun because you're stopping and stopping and stopping. I just had to drive. Like, how fast can I get back to San Diego? It's over. And
Right.
but I was thinking about three things, and I said it would be very interesting to see how many kids go back to traditional school when this quote unquote pandemic is over. And I was basing it on three things, and I started telling my friends this, and I said, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "I'm basing it on three things. Number one, for the first time, parents are going to see what their children are being exposed to in school. And be
Absolutely.
horrified,
Yes,
horrified.
sir.
Number two, how far behind their children are in certain subjects that they shouldn't be, basics. And number three, if they could sit down, concentrate on their homework, reading, whatever they needed to do, they'd be done within 2 to 3 hours and have the rest of the day to, I don't know, suppose grow up, have fun, play,
Yeah.
building blocks, go outside. I mean,
Right.
100 other things.
Creativity, yes.
Creativity, being a kid at 12. You know, I had a fort next door. I mean, and then I don't, you know, when I was growing up, we had this neat yard and I had a fort. And again, it started out as kind of two wood pieces, and then we got walls, and then we got a second story. And flash forward, you know, back east in New England, I built an architectural and development company. It put me through college. From the building blocks to the fort to that, you know, and that's the kind of impact that creativity can have on a child's life. But anyway, and so also within 6 to 12 months, it's 2020, 2021, I started seeing statistics that 20 to 30% of parents weren't sending their kids back to traditional school. Go figure. And I had already estimated that for my research.
You know, the same thing happened in the churches. Let me tell you what happened in the churches. Once they got out and they couldn't go, and they began to study the Bible on their own, and they began to look for more, you know, they began to see, they didn't go back to their churches. And now that's how we built an online church around the world. I mean, thousands of people that now call me their pastor, they found more. And it's the same thing with the educational system, because I tell our people all the time, if you want to save your children, I did a whole show on homeschooling here that was packed full of where the public school system started.
Sure.
The way they thought. They wanted to get children out of the control of the church. Because back in the day, all schools were church schools.
Sure.
Religion, morality was being taught to the children. Well, the liberals, they wanted another religion called humanism to be taught to children. And so that's where it all started. If we're going to save the children, homeschooling is the only answer.
Oh, I agree. And let's dig deeper. A question was, we received the books you order before Christmas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they'll ship out. If not tomorrow, they'll ship out Monday. We have a
Excellent.
fast, quick turnaround. So, but no, and from my experience over the last 3 to 4 years, I believe that the homeschool children are the most well-rounded, the most educated children that I've ever met. I think it is the most natural form of education that, if you will, God designed. And they're usually well-read. They're grounded. They listen very well. They're not antsy. They're not, and they're usually about 1 to 2 grades ahead of everyone else. And so if they choose to go to, they're already doing college courses at 16, 17.
Mr. Stewart, there's a family in Michigan. I got a feeling you're going to meet them one day. We were talking 2 weeks ago at our convention in Lake Guntersville, Alabama, and none of them, it's a whole family. One brother has 10 kids, or 11, 12 kids. The other brother has 8 kids. Each brother, it's large families, and you know, they're all about family. And he said, and they're, I'm not going to call them wealthy, but they don't struggle. You know, in other words,
Sure.
And none of the kids, watch this, each one of the children, when they get ready to get married, a home is provided for them. And he said, none of our kids go to college. He said, why would we ever send our children to college? And yet, every one of them's got a job. Every one of them's got a home paid for. Every one of them's got, in other words, they all work in one family business. Yet I just think that college, I think this whole, you know, now trade schools, I'm fine, but this whole mentality, you know, is so messed up to me.
Yeah, they've been hijacked, number one, with the massive liberal message. They've really been dumbed down with education. Based, you know, you could go back to the book, The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America, the 1980s book by a woman that worked under the Reagan administration, all by design. And suddenly they're graduating at 22 years old. Are you kidding me? And then they have a $250,000 debt, again by design.
Right.
So
Absolutely insanity.
they'll be in debt for the rest of their life because they're never going to pay that thing off. And again, too, I get a little disconnected from it, but my producer's wife deals with helping high school students get into some of these top colleges, and it's fun because I'll be up there every Christmas and spend the day and night together. And so I'm getting some of the feedback, and I'm like, how much is it a year now? And it's like some of these schools like $80,000 to $85,000 a year. That's all in. I'm like, are you out of your mind?
Crazy.
To have some liberal idiots teach you nothing, and they come out at 22 and they can't even spell the name or tie their shoelace. I am so against really the age inflation too, and something that we're doing with the Britfield Institute. Which is kind of our nonprofit focused on Title I schools, bringing creativity back in the classroom. We have an entrepreneur class that we love teaching to middle schools, 12-year-olds. Start your own company, start a product. We help you figure out how to start a product or market a product at 12 years old. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? That's when kids are brilliant, intelligent. And it's like, you get them young. And so I'm really of that model. I'm not so anti-college, but I just think you gotta be careful with it. I think I think you could do like with the homeschool movement. I know many parents like their kids are taking the pre-qualified college classes. So by the time they're 18, they've already got 2 years of college. And I know in California we've got some decent schools, Berkeley and UCLA and some others, and they can go on and then get in-state tuition, graduate in 2 years, get a degree at 20 from UCLA, and then whatever. I mean, that's just one model. Or take a year off, or don't go at all, or come back later. I mean, the way they learn is
all of the great universities, Mr. Stewart, all of the great universities, Yale, Harvard, were all started by the church. People don't realize that. You cannot have an education without the basic knowledge of all knowledge.
Sure.
The foundation of all knowledge. The Bible said, in all of your getting, get understanding.
There you go.
And that the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So, in other words, my point is, in America, in Americana, way back, all education was based on religion. Every bit of it. And that, to me, is the missing component with this lie of separation of church and state and the total misunderstanding of that. And that's why when I saw your book, I was like, oh, yes. I mean, my bookcase, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bookcases from top to bottom loaded down with books. And one of them right there is when Scotland was Jewish. I'm looking at it right now. And the other one is when Jesus went to Scotland. Many people don't realize that Yeshua, Jesus,
I heard that.
spent his young years in Scotland. One of the oldest Christian churches that's ever been found is in Scotland, before Scotland was Scotland. And it's really interesting, our Celtic backgrounds and how they all interplay. And so even though we are out of time, even though we are, I want you to know, as a father, as a pastor, as a grandfather, thank you for doing what you have done. And I was looking for the book I wrote for children, and I don't have it here, but it's on Amazon, America 101 with Professor Toto.
Nice.
And it was to teach the children the difference in a democracy and a republic, and how we are a republic and how to protect that. And so that's my heart, is to teach the children the greatness of America, our role in the world. And your effort is appreciated. And look, we have thousands of people now that know about the world of Britfield. So take the next 2 to 3 minutes, wrap this up, and say whatever you feel like you need to finish up with tonight.
Sure. Yeah, and in conclusion, too, in education, I mean, there are some good colleges out there. There's some great teachers out there. I'm not anti-college, like I said. And someone had mentioned, some professions you need it, and that's true. But there used to be this whole apprenticeship, and especially in the British model, 1800s, 1900s.
Yes, I
early,
believe
you know what I mean? If I wanted to go into law by 15, I was apprenticed to a law firm. I was practicing at 19, or 20 years old. Same thing with medicine. And medicine, believe it or not, has not changed that much because the body hasn't changed that much. It's just all the chemicals and all the other nonsense and all the, and that's a whole nother show,
Right.
right? But I'm just saying, it's just like, that I love that apprentice thing. I loved mentors, and I would always I worked for three self-made millionaires by the time I was 19 years old. So tell me I didn't learn some things. And I was a grunt, I'd show up every morning and sweep and vacuum the offices and empty the trash and wash his car. But I was there and I listened and talked to and learned and stuff. And I love that sort of mentorship. And, you could expedite learning so much quicker, but they put you in these boxes and these institutions for 40 hours a week based on the factory model. They were designed for the factory. And it hasn't changed, and it's gotten worse. And so someone had mentioned, one good thing that did come out of the pandemic was a lot of millions of kids coming out of this institution. And that's cool. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited for homeschools. I mean, they've made huge waves. And just for those that are watching that aren't even that familiar with it, there are so many, and you probably talk about this, so many different hybrid models. It's not like one parent has to stay home. You can drop them off at a homeschool group, homeschool
That's correct.
school. I mean, or you could take one day a week off of work with 5 other parents, and teach one subject and then work the other 4 days and then have them teach a subject. How much fun would that be? And have some fun with it. Not all about work.
That's our goal. At our church, we have a few homeschooled students. My goal is to have a little small building for you to be able to bring them 2-3 days a week, and you have one monitor there. But in other words, there's ways to do it. I agree with you.
Love the farmers too. And we talk about this on some of the shows, and it's like, like you're in this sort of mediocrity world of kids today, and it's just like, you go out there and at 12 years old, I mean, they're bringing in cattle, they're milking cows, and they're tough, and they've learned hands-on. I just have such a respect for that model, that hands-on model. Our farmers, God bless our farmers.
Yes.
And God bless our military. God bless our military.
And God bless you, Mr. Stewart. Thank you for taking the time to come to the Conservative College tonight and teach us and to share with us what you're doing to help us save this great republic, which our children are the heritage from the Lord. So on behalf of all of my viewers, all of my followers, thank you for joining me, and we will get you back.
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah, we could. There's so many topics we can dive into. We just scratch.
Well, let's do it. I'll schedule you back next month sometime.
That'd be cool. Yeah, it would be fun to return. And I thank you to your audience. And please support us. Get the word out about Britfield. Again, great gift for all ages. So
we will. God bless you, and thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. We appreciate so much. Wow, what a great, great fella, huh? God's got people. Listen, Yahweh, the Almighty God, is going to save America through people like you and me. People that will not shut up. People that will not give up. People that will not give in. That's why we're called Toto's Army. We're an army of people that are pulling back the curtain. Just like Mr. Stewart, prolific author. God told him, write this book about the lost crown. Oh, go watch my sermon entitled, what is my sermon entitled? Elder Morgan, if he's watching, he'll know it's when I was talking about a prisoner, a prince that had lost his crown. Oh, if Elder Morgan's watching, I'll watch the chats. He can tell me the name of that sermon. But nevertheless, I plan to send Mr. Stewart my own teachings on that lost crown that maybe he's not aware of. And who knows, it might find its way into some future book as well. Amen. Wow, wow, wow. I hope every one of you enjoyed Mr. Stewart. Hey, I have one more guest. Don't go anywhere. Please don't go anywhere. I'm going to take about 5 minutes and introduce you to another person that is helping to change the lives of our children. She's a hero. Why is she a hero? Because she is no one that the world would consider that important. She's just like me and you, and she has decided to make a difference. I'm going to introduce her to you tonight. She's actually a member of my church, my ministry. I believe she, maybe not, I may have misspoke, but they come to our ministry events. And she has decided that since everyone cannot homeschool, we understand that. There are some people that they're like, you know what, that sounds great, but I can't. She says, you know what, I'm going to get on the school board and I'm going to do what I can. She's with me right now. I'm going to introduce you to her. I'm fixing to start a movement. Anybody that wants to run for school board, that's where I want to focus. I want to focus on school boards. Anyone that wants to run for a school board office, I'm going to put you in front of all my followers and they're going to donate to you. And all your enemies, your liberal enemies on the school board, is going to wonder where your money came from. They're going to think you have no support. We may not even be in your district, but we believe in what you're doing. I'm calling on Toto's army tonight, all over the world. I'm fixing to introduce you to a hero, a lady that wants to get on the school board, and you're going to help her tonight. That's right. We're all going to help her. I'm going to help her. And I'm going to bring her on right now and introduce you to this great woman. And if I can pull her up, there she is. Her name is Ann Faudree. Good evening, Ann, and welcome to the Conservative College.
Thank you, Professor Toto.
Hello.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm so glad to have you, Ann. Ann, tell everyone where you are.
I am in Martinsville, Indiana, a little bit south or a little bit north of IU, Indiana University, and a little bit south of Indianapolis, kind of in the middle.
Indiana. All right. So all of my Indiana people, and by the way, Ann, I'm going to put your QR code. It is going to be, let's see, there it is right there. We're going to put that up. And anyone that wants to donate to Miss Faudree's campaign, I'm going to donate. Matter of fact, let me get my phone and I'll go ahead and scan the QR code. And while we're doing that, tell us what caused you to decide to run.
Well, you're part of the reason that I'm running. I've been
Yay!
following you
I
since
love
you've been
that.
on. Yes. And, I believe with all my heart that God is setting up his own government, even in our local school boards. And boy, do we need it. So I prayed and prayed and prayed about it and got my confirmation. And here I am. And believe me, it is out of my comfort zone, but I'm ready.
Wow. First of all, that QR code is not working. That's going to your Facebook page. Where can we donate to you?
I have a PayPal, which is for my school board, and a Venmo, and I also
Okay.
have my local bank.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I can put. Tell you what, let me do it this way. Give me what's your Venmo ID? Do you know?
I think it is at Ann Faudree -1.
Ann, ANN.
Yes. F as in Frank, AUD as in dog, REE -1.
Hyphen.
And also you can look it up by phone number.
Okay, well, we don't want to put your phone number out there publicly. Okay, Venmo. So look, let me make sure, look at your screen and make sure that's right. Hang tight. Is that right? Okay, that's her
Yes.
Venmo. So I'm fixing to send you a donation, and we want you to get on the school board.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, so you decided to run how long ago?
It was in probably May or June, but I waited and had prayed and waited and had prayed. So I went to the very last day and signed up on the very last day.
Wow, the very last day. You
Yes.
just felt compelled
June
to
the
do it.
20th. Yes.
So do you have a liberal school board? What is the situation?
Mostly
Okay.
liberal, but we have a lot of nepotism. We have a lot of people who are constantly on the board. There have been no changes. Everybody kind of stays with who everybody wants and what everybody wants, and we're not getting anywhere. And we had a town hall meeting in September, and they absolutely lied and said they were not teaching CRT or SEL or DEI in their school district when they actually are. And we have it on videotape from about a year ago. There was a whistleblower who came out and said that yes, they in fact
Wow.
are.
Wow. So are you the underdog in the race?
I have two other people running who we are not opponents, but they are like-minded like
Okay.
me.
Good.
And I'm praying for them too.
Amen.
We need to overhaul. We need to turn over the school board.
Well, we are going to not only hold you up financially, but we're going to hold you up prayerfully. I'm asking
Yes.
all of Toto's Army right now, if you're watching, if it's only $5, if we had 1,000 people that gave $5 right now, all over, let's get Ann on the school board. I want to bring her back when she wins. And that's a member of Toto's Army that's on a school board. We've already got city clerks, county clerks that we've helped put in office. Let's put Ann on the school board. Right now, those that watch after the live, you watch the replay, let's get this great woman. She loves God. She's a believer. She believes in the commandments, and let's put her there. And but it takes more than prayer. It takes dollars. So I'm asking everyone right now, let's get behind Ann. I don't care where you live. This is our sister, and I know these people personally. So I know that your funds are going to a good cause. Ann, thank you for coming on tonight. What did you think about our previous guest?
I'm so excited. We are going to buy the trilogy, and my 8-year-old goes to a private Christian school because I don't want her in the
Right.
public schools. So I am going to refer those books also to them.
Excellent.
I'm sure they would love it.
Excellent, excellent. I'm so excited. And by the way, it was so good to see you and your husband at the Feast of Tabernacles last week.
Yes, we love it. We have a blast. Yeah, he's
Oh.
over here too. He's excited.
Well, hello, brother. How are you? There you go. Bless you.
Bless you.
Hey,
Good program
amen.
tonight.
Wasn't it wonderful? We got to save the children. Amen.
Amen.
And
Amen.
thank you for joining me, sister. Hopefully we'll see you in Bible study
Thank you.
tomorrow night. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Central, I'll be teaching the Word of God on a private Zoom Bible study. Are you hungry for more? Are you one of those that says, I know there's more? Then you need to be in our Bible study. Lives have been changed. People have been revolutionized by that Bible study. I'm going to get you a QR code. There it is right now. Click on the QR code. If that doesn't work, email me and say, hey, I need that Bible study link. All right? Email me and we will get it to you. Everyone knows my email address, but just in case you don't, never fear. Bam, there it is. I pray you have been blessed tonight. Our children are our future. Somebody has to step up. Somebody has to reach for them. Let that somebody be us, Toto's Army. Yahweh bless you and keep you. Next Tuesday night, I have another special guest. Total different subject. A miracle story. You've got to be here. He is a CEO of one of the largest. Anyway, never mind. Be here Tuesday night, and we're going to have a great, great evening. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. That's always my prayer for you. Good night, America.